I'm Jeff Hunt. Hugo Chavez Reyes here. Special Christmas Eve edition of the Jeff and Bill Show. Billy out on a much-deserved, needed vacation. He'll be back in January, and I'll be out after today until January 5th as well. Peter Boyles will be filling in the meantime. But Hugo, live in studio, and you got a fantastic sweatshirt on. Introduce yourself, Hugo. You got the Hispanic Patriot podcast thing going on. Former chairman of the Colorado Hispanic Republicans.
Yeah, current vice chair in Denver, GOP, yeah, you mentioned Bill. It wouldn't be a good idea for me and Bill to be in the same room.
To be together. Right. You know, there's a lot of people that kind of feel that way, surprisingly, on the text messages. But no, you guys would get into some good debates. But it's glad to have you here. We've got a lot to cover today. Adam Dorito, he's a candidate for Congressional District 8. He's a Republican challenging Gabe Evans, is going to join us this hour. Not going to want to miss that. We're going to talk Colorado CDL issues. Slow walking the data to the Trump administration, like they do everything.
Yeah.
I'm on Phil Weiser's fundraising email list. I don't know how I got onto that. I think they do it as trolls sometimes. But it's just, I'm on lawsuit 52. I'm on lawsuit 53. It's all he does is sue the president. So it's not surprising that they are slow walking this data. I mean, we know illegal immigrants have CDLs in Colorado. We just don't know how many.
Yep.
And that data is going to be released, which is going to be important. Lindsay Malaconi is going to join us in the 8 o'clock hour, talking about a great event she has coming up, organizing conservatives in Golden on January 10th. We're going to talk Jeanette Vizquera getting released on bond, going home for Christmas, but not really home, because home would be Mexico. She's just going to stay here in America and probably run into a church. But Trump would probably go get her now, which would be
She's
fun.
Colorado's Abrego Garcia.
That's exactly right. And the Trump National Guard ruling. So we've got a whole lot to talk about today. But let's jump right into Adam Dorito's also joining us live in studio. Adam challenging Gabe Evans in Congressional District 8 for the Republican nomination. Adam, good morning. Thanks for joining the Jeff and Bill Show.
Good morning, Jeff. It's a pleasure to be on here, and it's a pleasure to come in.
Yeah, so give folks a little bit of your background. You got a lapel pin on. What's that all about?
So, I'm a paratrooper. I'm an oil and gas worker. I'm an unapologetic conservative Catholic. I've been out here my entire adult life. When I turned 18, I went to the Air Force Academy out here, and I just kind of stayed out here. Originally, I was born in New York, grew up in New Jersey. I was an EMT. I was a firefighter, a search and rescue technician growing up. Did some of that out here as well. But my whole life has been about public service since I was 12 when I joined the Civil Air Patrol. And, when I just started seeing our jobs go away and our oil and gas industry getting destroyed, and you support all these candidates, and they all say they're going to support the veterans, and they're going to support the energy workers, and then they're going to support big ag and our farmers and ranchers. And then when you start seeing that life go away, you start questioning, and like, well, who's going to do something to step up and do something about it? And I decided that person was going to be me.
That's Adam Dorito. He's a candidate for the Republican nomination in Congressional District 8, which means he's going to be challenging Gabe Evans. Why does Gabe need to be replaced in your mind?
Well, number one is his stance on not mutilating children. I think that was the final straw for a lot of people. I was a big supporter of Gabe when he was running. And for me, when he came out and said that we should not criminalize transgender surgeries of children under the age of 18, I think that was the final breaking point for a lot of people.
Yeah, he came on our show and explained his position. He said he's 100% against it. He was law enforcement. He didn't think it was the role of police officers to go in, kick down doors, and arrest doctors that were doing these types of surgeries, and he felt like it wasn't nuanced enough. He didn't think it was good law. What's your response to him?
My response is you don't touch kids under the age of 18. If you are a parent or a guardian or a physician that is touching kids under the age of 18, and you're not just concentrating on math, science, and learning how to be a good American citizen, someone has to take responsibility, and you can't hold kids accountable for making those decisions, and it's unacceptable.
Yeah. And do you think that could win in Congressional District 8? The sense I got from him was that, look, he made his position clear. He's 100% against this. He voted to defund it, but that progressives were going to use the moniker that Gabe Evans supported police arresting doctors in Congressional District 8, a highly competitive, if not the most competitive congressional district in the country. Do you think he's right to be concerned about the left doing that? And is that, in your mind, a message that could lose that seat?
Well, no, actually, because I work in the district and I work with most of the Hispanic community. I work in oil and gas. I work in Commerce City. And if you talk to most reasonable Americans outside of the political fray, they just want the kids to grow up and just be good Americans. Yeah. That's it. I don't think it's the issue. I think the issue is do the right thing, be a moral, ethical person.
Yeah. Let's talk about the challenges of that district. Congressional District 8, as I mentioned, highly competitive. Gabe proved that he could win in that district. Isn't that important to maintaining a Republican majority in Congress, or are you going to threaten that victory?
Actually, I'm the only one who can hold the seat. The problem is that Gabe got his Trump endorsement in the early spring and then immediately went against the Trump administration on the Dignity Act. And then he didn't support the Trump administration moving Space Force to Alabama with the lack of support for veterans out here. And then soon after that, he went against So once again, he's gone against the Trump administration for 3 tiers in a row. He's lost most of that majority that he won with. And also, he lost the Libertarian vote. Hannah Goodman switched right back to the Democratic Party right now. So that slim majority he won by is now gone. And I think they need a bold, proven, and principled candidate to come back in and have reasonable conversations across the aisle and hold the seat for the Republicans.
Adam Dorito is a candidate for Congressional District 8, which is the northern part of Denver, all the way up into Weld County. His website is at adamdorito.com.
Adam Dorito for Congress. DoritoForCongress.com.
DoritoForCongress.com. DoritoForCongress.com. Adam Dorito. So tell us, I want to ask you about some of those things. Mm-hmm. Trump took Space Force from... I always got confused on this. Was it Space? It wasn't Space Force.
Space Command.
Space Command. Thank you very much. Space Command from Colorado Springs, put it in Alabama. You would support that?
I would. And actually, I wrote an article about this on my Substack. And like I said, I'm an Air Force Academy guy. I'm an Army officer currently. The reason is that we can't even support the infrastructure of the military down there right now. I-25 is too small. The airport's too small to support that. And also, the command down there is only a few hundred people. It's not like tens of thousands of people. It's not Fort Carson. And honestly, a lot of our representatives brag about supporting veterans, but when we go to them for veteran issues, they can't support the veterans they have now. So why would I want to put more veterans in the state of Colorado that they don't already support?
Yeah. Text messages coming in. Feel free to join the conversation by giving us a call at 303-696-1971. Text us on the Dan Caplis Law text line 720-819-5115. Adam Dorito challenging Gabe Evans for the Republican nomination live in studio. Text message coming in from the Bread Man. Can you explain the jump wings in Air Force? They're not common. And then also primarying Republicans, not the path to victory. Go take out heroin Barbie. What's your response to the Bread Man?
Well, one, yes, I did jump in the Air Force at the Air Force Academy, but also I am now an Army officer, so I went through airborne school through Army. I was in 19 Special Forces Group for my time in the National Guard, and now I'm at the 440, the Civil Affairs Battalion down at Carson.
Great. And then his response to why not go challenge heroin Barbie instead of Gabe Evans?
Well, the biggest problem is that we are going to lose that seat with Gabe Evans in District 8 currently. The Democrats have a big upper hand right now with fundraising and attraction. Gabe Evans has already lost the seat. I think a lot of hardline Republicans don't realize that, and they need a reasonable conservative who's actually going to do the job and can still reach across the aisle on Democratic labor issues. Like I'm in the Steelworkers Union, right? So we may not agree on social issues, but we can agree that critical infrastructure, our refineries, our oil and gas workers, pipe fitters, welders are needed here. And I support that because I am one of them.
Yeah. That's Adam Dorito. Adam, many people project that this is going to be a challenging midterm for Trump, just historically, right? Not just because of Trump, but because politics tends to bounce back and forth. Excuse me. This would now be President Trump's second term, midterms, which I lived through in the Bush years in 2006 when my boss Rick Santorum lost, and that was the bloodbath where Democrats took control. So the sixth year of a president's term, typically really tough. Democrats will have energy, momentum, funding. What is your message to hold a competitive district to keep it in Republican hands?
One, I think we've lost so much hope here in the Republican Party, especially with the younger generation, and I'm hoping to reinvigorate that and get higher voter turnout. I have not had a bad conversation in all the hundreds of miles I've driven in the last 2 weeks. I can't find anyone that isn't saying, wow, you actually might bring something different to the table that's not the typical talking points. So our biggest thing is, yes, it's going to be a bloodbath. This is going to be the most competitive district in the United States. But we're willing to take up the challenge and willing to show that the next greatest generation of America First conservatives are willing to take the helm and help save America in District 8.
Right. Adam Dorito, he's running for Congress. Feel free to join us. Give us a call if you have any questions. 303-696-1971. Text us on the Dan Caplis Law Text line at 720-819-5115, 720-819-5115. Here's a text message coming in from 8913. As usual, Republicans are going to mess up a current strong candidate and give it back. Go figure. What's your response to them?
Well, they're obviously not paying attention to the environment. I'd say, like, I go around to Commerce City and Brighton and Greeley, and they already don't want to vote for Gabe. And these are just normal, everyday Americans, right? So I need people to get out of their molehills and understand that we need to talk to other people versus the first 40 people in their periphery, and understand that in order to save this for the Republican Party, we need new America First conservative leadership to do that, and I'm the man.
When you're talking to people out in the district, what are the top 3 things that you're hearing? What are the biggest issues that they want confronted?
Number one is affordability. The younger generation can't handle it. They can't get married. They can't have kids. They can't live in safety. They need somebody who's going to do what they say they're going to do. And I have done that for the 15 years I even fought the Department of Defense. Like, I have a record of fighting very, very hard.
Tell us about
battles.
that. I've seen some headlines, but I don't know that much.
Yeah, I mean, long story short, I was involved at the Air Force Academy. I was sexually assaulted. I reported rape and sexual assault at the Air Force Academy. There's a lot into that, but obviously this could be a 4-hour podcast about that. Yeah. Long story short is I was discharged involuntarily 30 days after graduation. My commissioned degree were withheld for going against the Academy and the 3-star general down there. They falsified my mental health records to say I was crazy. So all the people that we were trying to convict of those cases, they all got dismissed because the evidence couldn't be used in court because the person who had the evidence was so-called had a mental health issue. But got those records corrected, got them fixed. 10th District Court agreed with me. They pushed it back to the Air Force Board of Corrections of Military Records. The Air Force agreed. They changed the records, and then I got my commission back. This is last August. So it was a 15-year fight, but I won.
Adam Dorito, he's running for Congress. He's challenging Gabe Evans. Feel free to join the conversation. 303-696-1971. Text us on the Dan Caplis Law Text line, 720-819-5115. Let's go back to the top issues. Affordability. What do you do to address that?
Well, number one is we need to bring oil and gas production back into Adams County and Weld County. We have lost so much money in this state. I mean, the tax severance in Weld County alone, I think was a couple of years ago was $2.7 million, and now we're down to about $170,000 if you look at it. Now they need to raise taxes in the county to make up that difference. Well, one, I know as a federal representative, it's going to be federal land first, right? So Pawnee National Grasslands development, things like that. Bring hope. All those companies I used to work for are gone. Right? And we need to bring those companies back, right? And in addition to that is we need to make sure that the airport expansion is being secured for critical infrastructure. Our refinery right now is at risk of going on strike because of the lack of support. And I don't know if you're aware of this, but...
The Sunco refinery?
Yes, it is. And I don't know if I should talk about that. Sorry. But the problem is that we lost a $25 million paving contract for Denver. The reason why the roads literally aren't getting paid in Denver is because the Denver City Council voted against using Suncor asphalt, which is the only asphalt producer in the area. And now they're buying it out of state, doubling the emissions and doubling the cost basically for you as the taxpayer. And our representatives did nothing to stop it or help us. So we're losing jobs. It's a safety concern because now we have less money to spend things. And the biggest issue is unnecessary environmental regulations. I'm all for EPA standards and being stewards of the environment, right? But the problem is when Denver and Colorado make excess emission standards that are unreasonable, and they're making us spend millions of dollars on capital infrastructure projects to reduce emissions by another 2%. That's insanity, and it's costing jobs, it's costing lives, and it's taking money out of people's pockets.
Yeah. So oil and gas on federal land, because Jared Polis has said he wants to eliminate the industry entirely.
Yeah, no.
So
I'm sorry,
you're going to face that headwind here, and it seems like I'm intrigued by the voters of Colorado because they're so invested in government solutions to problems, right? Mm-hmm. I have the woke 6 commandments, which is that little flag that says in this house, we believe that no person's illegal. Those types of things, right? I call the 6 woke commandments. But the bottom one, which is, I think, the foundation of their whole belief system, is kindness is everything. So they want to be kind. They put all of their eggs into the government basket, thinking that the government can solve our problems. And if you try to take away a government program, you're a terrible person.
Well, that's why we need to deregulate as much as possible, Jeff.
Yeah.
And another issue to this is the fentanyl trafficking, human trafficking, child sex trafficking. It just needs to stop. We have a big issue with it in District 8. Nobody wants to talk about it.
Really?
But we need to bring more federal law enforcement resources and get rid of that Senate bill that prevents local law enforcement from working with federal agents.
Right.
I've talked to DHS agents. I've talked to cops around here. They just need help. They need somebody to stand up. They need more resources. They need more counter UAS systems. And that's something that me as a federal representative can help them do with congressionally funded projects and things that are just not being done currently by our current representation.
Going back to affordability, it seems to me that government spending is one of the biggest problems with regards to affordability because it drives up inflation. I think it's the number one driver of inflation.
Yep.
We all got those COVID checks, and I remember sitting there being like, this is going to suck. Like, we're going to end up paying a lot more than what those stupid little COVID checks paid us. But and it's true. That's exactly what happened. So what's going to be your position in Congress? Are you going to be a deficit hawk like a Thomas Massie or a Rand Paul? Or are you going to look at the president and go, no, I'd be willing to support some deficit spending?
Well, the thing is, you understand, like, there's going to be an omnibus spending bill that they're going to try to pass every year. That's just the games. I'm 38 years old. I think it's been every year since I've been alive. Yeah. There's going to have to be concessions made. But I think reasonable deregulation on things. And also, the biggest thing for affordability right now is the corporate takeover of the housing market. BlackRock and all these companies should not be able to be buying single-family homes and pricing people out and making them permanent renters for all eternity. Mm-hmm. That is something that I want to work on as a primary focus in my campaign that nobody's talking about.
Great. That's Adam Dorito. Adam's running for Congress. He's challenging Gabe Evans in Congressional District 8. Text messages hot on this one. Joan in Lakewood. I believe that Gabe is behind the 8 ball. He's running commercials about the roads in Colorado. He's like Barb Kirkmeyer, who thinks that running on fixing roads will get him elected. The natural gas issue is real. I will fight to death to save my gas stove. You want to talk about that?
Yeah, well, for number one, Gabe published all those things about saving the roads after I posted my article 7 days prior about fixing the roads and the issues he's not addressing. So I think there's a movie about that where he keeps tag teaming off of it. But yeah, I appreciate that he at least reads my stuff and takes my advice. Maybe he should have done that for his entire representation before then. We have over 4,000 years of natural gas in this state, and we need to use it. It's 87% efficient. There's not really an emissions issue with it. All the data that's being made up by the Colorado ECMC is a joke. And I can say that as somebody who's a critical infrastructure expert and actually works in the environmental department on these things. I'm all for being an environmental steward to the land and preserving the Colorado way of life, but let's be reasonable. We're all country people. We're trying to save Colorado, and we need to make sure Americans and Coloradans are staying safe and warm throughout the winter.
Adam Torito's live in studio along with Hugo Chavez-Ray, and text messages coming in hot. When all said, this is 3766. When all is said and done, the only thing we Republicans need to look at is who would be a better representative for Coloradans, and that's Adam Dorito by far. Gabe is going to lose that seat to the Democrat. Who do you think is going to be the Democrat nominee?
I think it's going to be Manny Rutenau or Shannon Byrd. Manny Rutenau's got the most followers. He's the Hispanic hunk, so to speak. But he decided it was a good idea to take a picture in front of my refinery saying we're going to come for your jobs, and I'm just going to tell him, come and take it.
Four Corners Steve, what he did say, what did he say we are getting asphalt from out of state? Can you clarify on that? They're saying you're talking very fast.
Yeah. So, yes, currently Denver is buying all of their asphalt from an out-of-state producer and shipping it back into the state when they have an asphalt producer that's 3 miles up the road. So they're not, and their justification is, oh, it's reducing emissions. Actually, it's doubling emissions because you have to truck it or train it back into the state. And they're paying a higher cost. So literally, Denver voted to raise your taxes in hand to pave the roads for the asphalt that's locally produced by critical infrastructure unions, which are American jobs.
Yeah, that's not surprising coming from Colorado.
But we've got the Vibrant bond for relief.
Yeah, right. Right. That's Hugo Chavez-Ray live in studio with me. Hugo, do you have a question for Adam?
Yeah, Adam. As most people know, the district is heavily Hispanic. So explain to the folks that don't know you personally that the strategy behind attracting the Hispanic vote and your relationship with Hispanic workers in the industry.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's kind of funny. I'm the minority in my job. I mean, I'm the Irish Catholic white guy. You know, I've worked with the Hispanics my entire time in the oil field since I started in 2012, and man, did they cut my teeth. I mean, they made me learn the hard way, going out there swinging hammers and pulling pipe branches, but I earned their respect. And that's all. Most of these Hispanic communities that I interact with, they just want people that want to work hard, take care of their families, and like I said, we all go to church together. I mean, I'm a substitute Catholic teacher up in St. Mary's in Greeley part-time, just a few days a year. But you just see, like, most of these people are conservative, rational families. They don't really care about the social hubbub that you see that's dividing the community. It's one of the reasons why I became on the board of governors for the Colorado Hispanic Republicans, is because these communities mean a lot to me. They're like my family to me. I've lived with these guys for years in the field, and I want to take care of them because they've taken care of me.
Mm-hmm. Adam Dorito, he's running for Congress. DoritoForCongress.com, right? DoritoForCongress.com, DERITO for Congress.com. All right, we'll continue the conversation. Feel free to give us a call, text message. Join the conversation, 303-696-1971. Text us on the Dan Caplis Law text line at 720-819-5115. Raymond from Colorado Springs, liking what you're saying. Adam, Four Corner Steve, saying this guy is good. So, yeah, getting a lot of props. Good job. All right, Adam Dorito is going to be here. He's going to continue. Feel free to call in if you have any questions. In the meantime, let's talk the gun room. If you listen to me for any amount of time, you know I care deeply about freedom, responsibility, and supporting local businesses that have stood the test of time. That's why I want to tell you about the gun room. The gun room has been Denver's oldest firearms dealer since 1982, and when you walk in, you feel it. Real wood. Real craftsmanship, a shop that actually looks like a gun store. Less plastic, more tradition. They buy, sell, and consign any and all firearms, from antique and vintage to hunting and tactical. And they do something the big box stores never will. They work closely with families who've lost a loved one and need help handling a gun collection with care and respect. Inventory changes daily with over 1,000 firearms in stock. So if you're thinking about buying, especially with new restrictive laws coming, you should act now. Support local, support family-owned, support freedom. Visit denvergunroom.com or call 303-237-1300. That's 303-237-1300. denvergunroom.com, denvergunroom.com. And by the way, I know it's Christmas Eve. Things are crazy. If you forgot to get a gift for somebody and you need a real quick one, gift card to the Denver Gun Room. Gift card to the Denver Gun Room. So simple, easy. Plus, they'll love you for it. denvergunroom.com, denvergunroom.com. We'll continue with the Jeff and Bill Show, Denver's News Talk Leader, 710 KNUS.
Your KNUS forecast for the Denver metro area calls for more like October than Christmas time weather here across the metro area in Rocky Mountains and High Plains. High temperatures today and Christmas Day, a good 25 degrees above average, near 70. Record warmth will be likely with nighttime lows above average too and just near 40 degrees. Friday, stay in the 60s, then 50s on Saturday, 40s Sunday. I'm meteorologist Mark Huer in the 710 KNUS Weather Center.
Very happy Christmas Eve to you. Tuning into the Jeff and Bill Show. Billy's out. Live in studio with me is Hugo Chavez Ray, the Hispanic Patriot podcaster. Merry Christmas. It's going to be huge. Santa Trump coming to town. By the way, we have that song, which I've put to a video I'm going to release after the show today, which is hilarious. You're not going to want to miss it. Go to x.com/Jeff Hunt if you want to see Santa Trump coming to town. All right, live in studio also with us is Adam Dorito. Adam's challenging Gabe Evans. It's not conservative enough, he says. He wants a real strong leader in that seat representing that community. All right, lots of text messages coming in. ILJ wants to know, I do like what I hear from Adam, but I'd like to know a question, but for him would be, how is he going to get other people to buy into to him with these Democrats who are so firm in their party and not policy? They just hate Trump. I run into them down at the No Kings. Like, I talk to Democrats more than any other Republican.
I watch you do it. It's great.
Yeah, you're right. And they're just like so crazy anti-Trump. Mm-hmm. That you could literally be Jesus himself and they wouldn't vote for you. So how do you win them over?
What I have to remind them is, I support the President of the United States 100%. I've supported every president I've worked for since Bush, right? But one thing people understand is in 2 years, the show goes on. And I want to make sure that I'm the representative that's continuing the fight so we don't go back to the good old boys club.
Gotcha. All right, let's talk about your service. I asked you this off air and you started. I could tell I hit something. You have served under Bush, Obama, Trump, Biden, Trump in the military. You have seen the military go through all these different administrations. Give us an insider perspective on that.
Oh, man, the Bush years are crazy because obviously, when you're 18 years old and I lost family in the towers, like I said, I'm from New York, New Jersey. I saw the towers collapse. So when you're there, I want to kill everybody. I want to go overseas and blow everybody up when you're 18 because that's what they convince you to do. And then when you start seeing your friends die, and you're burying caskets, it changes your perspective a lot. The Obama years were insane because he killed more innocent people with drones than any other president. And then we go under the Biden administration when I did my combat deployment overseas, and it was a giant bureaucratic nightmare. We had to get permission from the White House to conduct strikes when my guys are getting shot at in Syria, right? I was an intelligence analyst overseas, right? And guys are getting hit, and local commanders were not allowed to be commanders.
You guys honestly had to call the White, or somebody had to call the White, the dude that went to bed at 4 p.m.
Well, obviously it was his associates.
Yeah, we don't really.
But I mean, we had to get permission from D.C. even so General Kurilla overseas could do his job. And so captains and colonels, what's the point of them? If I have to ask permission, on a red line phone overseas, what are we doing?
What do you think of Trump's leadership with the military? Because I'm getting both sides of this. We shouldn't be in Ukraine as aggressively as we should, but Venezuela, let's take over the tankers. What do you do with all this?
Our only job in the military is to kill people and break things. Everyone is part of the kill chain no matter what job you do, whether you're cleaning the poopers on the transport aircraft, loading the ammunition, or your infantry front line. We have to make sure that the best Americans are equipped to defend this country and its constitution and our allies overseas, and Trump and Pete Hegseth are bringing that back.
Yeah. Do you agree with his activities in Venezuela?
It's necessary to an extent, right? Like, obviously, am I for foreign wars and intervention and crossing the borders? No. But in terms of killing narco-terrorists that are carrying drugs over to kill Americans, that's what we're here to do.
Yeah, and I see it a little differently because I think it's a re-exercise of the Monroe Doctrine, which is we're the big guys in the Western Hemisphere. We're the big dog in the backyard, which means China and Russia messing around in Latin American countries and South American countries ends. This is our backyard. That's why I think it's a little different than Ukraine, Afghanistan, and all these other places where I'm like, okay, I've been to Russia, right? I don't think Russia's this great paradise that some people make it out to be. It's very corrupt. I got arrested every day at lunch because some cop.
You made it back, though.
Right. Some cop wanted lunch. It's like, well, passport problem. Passport. I was like, there's $20 to make the passport problem go away. Yes, I want lunch. And this was early 2000s, like 2003. There's not a lot of religious freedom there. I'm not a fan of what Putin's doing or anything like that. But at the same time, I'm like, all right, Europe, you have more vested in Ukraine than we do. You should be the big dog out here fighting that. It's not us. Afghanistan and Iraq, while originally I was supportive of those, I wrote about that in grad school. and thought that we were, I was a neocon. We are going to bring democracy to these backward. If they could just taste democracy, they will embrace it. And then lo and behold, $1 trillion and thousands of lives later, they just went right back to kicking little girls out of schools.
I mean,
so
I believe the same thing.
Go
when
ahead.
I was younger.
Yeah, Hugo.
Yeah, the thing that I think a lot of Americans are not in tune with is the fact that China in particular is very active in the Western Hemisphere. Yeah. And in my home country of Peru, China is very heavily invested. They're building big ports down there. They are investing in minerals. They are investing in natural resources down there. And that's just Peru. So there's other countries, Ecuador, Venezuela, Colombia. The only place that they haven't gotten a strong foothold in is Argentina. And Argentina is now, interestingly enough, turning back to capitalism, and they're a pro-Trump economy now. So,
do you think if we got rid of Maduro, though, that the people would put in, because it was the people that put in Chavez to begin with? Do you think the people, are we going to end up with like Afghanistan, where we spend all this time and energy and the dopes that actually operate and live in that country just put the bad guys right back in?
Yeah, the thing about South American countries is that, at least in Peru, and I can't speak for some of the other countries, but in Peru, voting is mandatory. So, in fact, if you don't vote, you get fined. So everybody,
I like that too.
Everybody votes, and when you have that, you have a lot of uneducated, uninformed people that vote. So this last president that got elected in Peru, a socialist, Chavez acolyte, if you will, got in because the campesinos, the people that are really not educated very well, were promised the moon, and they all went out and voted for the guy. He won by not a large margin, but he won. And then less than a year later, he was arrested because he was going to dissolve the Congress, and word got out ahead of time, and they put out an arrest warrant for him. He tried to escape through the Mexican embassy, and the people in Lima, Peru, actually surrounded the embassy and prevented him from accessing the embassy long enough for the authorities to arrest him. He's sitting in a jail now. So, that's the thing that people need to understand. China is very invested in the Western Hemisphere, and they're using their financial resources and other powers down in South America and some in Central America because they want a strong foothold. So the United States, of course, is, like you said, the big dog in the Western Hemisphere, and that's important because we have to maintain our autonomy here in this hemisphere.
That's why I see it a little different. Live in studio with us, Adam Dorito. He's running for Congress, challenging Gabe Evans in Congressional District 8 for the Republican nomination. We've got some phone calls coming in. Let's go to Joe in Littleton. Adam, Joe Littleton, good morning. You're on with Jeff, Hugo, and Adam.
Hi, Adam. I just really like what I'm hearing. You just have a strong voice, a voice that says, this is what I believe, and this is what I'm going for. And I like to hear that in a candidate. But, I'm really concerned. I'm like going to be 78. I'm a native here, 5 generations. I've never seen such a mess in my life. These roads, I hope you will pound the roads and also the heating. I'm retired. I can barely afford the heating. I'd love to see more drilling. But I live in a neighborhood that's pretty much, I'm in Littleton. I would say they're nice folks, but I would say they're very liberal. When we just had a mayoral candidate come up, they didn't vote for the guy that said, I don't want high-rise buildings here, but they voted against the high-rise buildings. So I'm just wanting to put that in your thinking cap, because I'd like to see you pound those two things. I
Let's
hope to
give
God
Adam a
somebody like
chance
you
to
win.
respond. Go ahead, Adam. Your
actually,
thoughts.
one
Thank
of
you, Joe.
one of the federal policies I want to bring in, because like I said, can I affect local state policy? No, but what can I do on the federal side? And my first objective to get the roads being paved again, to lower costs of energy, is to get rid of the renewable identification number policies here in the state. That forces us to blend so-called renewable fuels such as ethanol, which is decimating, our agricultural industry for unnecessary fuel production. We need to make sure that our refinery here is labeled as a small refinery, so we get the small refinery exemption. We only produce about 98,000 barrels a day, and actually it's 3 separate refineries, so really it's like 30, 40, 30 or whatever it is. And the problem is that they keep getting denied and not approved here within the state. We need to use Trump's emergency energy declaration to make sure that we can use the small refinery exemption to make sure that we're producing fuel at a low cost and paving our roads.
Joe, appreciate the call. Thanks so much. Adam, a few questions for you. Tina Peters, what do you think of this whole thing?
Yeah, I think 10th Group should just breach a hole in the wall and pull her out at this point. I mean, if they're not going to do that.
So, are you being facetious? Are you actually, would you support military action from the president?
No, I just thought that'd be funny. Because I like to be funny.
Yeah.
Tina,
Kyle Clark listens to the show, and that'll end up on.
Yeah, I hope he does, because that's hilarious. The boys are bored. They haven't done anything in a while. Let the boys free. No, but Tina Peters should not be in jail. It's ridiculous. Obviously, we've seen even what came out in Georgia most recently with even them admitting that the voters' connections or voter records were wrong. Mm-hmm. She did the right thing. Did she go about the best way of doing it at the time? Technically, that's how they got her on violating the law, and that's how she was convicted by a jury of her peers. Yeah, but she's also in her 70s, gold star mom. Yeah. Let her out of prison, because if I'm seeing fentanyl addicts and murder suspects being released sooner than Tina Peters, we have a problem. Let her go home, free her. Trump pardoned her. Get over this politics. We should not be playing with somebody's life over politics.
Adam Dorito, he's running for Congress. His website, by the way, because people are texting in wanting to know how to donate, is DoritoForCongress.com. That's DERITOFOR Congress, CONGRESS.com. President Trump, you seem to be a big supporter of his, did endorse Gabe Evans. Why did he get that wrong?
Well, he endorsed him way too early, and I think he just gave a blanket endorsement for basically every Republican in the state. And I think if people know how actual Trump endorsements works, it's not like you're actually talking to the president of the United States per se. It's mostly his staffers picking it with Susie Wiles, and that's fine. That's his prerogative. But what I would challenge people to look at is what Gabe Evans did immediately after his endorsement. After he got his endorsement, he went against Trump on 3 major policies, right? And that was the Dignity Act. He went against Trump's move for Space Force Command, and then he went against protecting children. And I think people really need to evaluate that endorsement, and I think the Trump administration needs to think about that as well.
Adam Dorito, live in studio. Feel free to give us a call or text us. Phone line 303-696-1971. Text us on the Dan Caplis Law text line at 720-819-5115. Speaking of Dan Caplis, I've known Dan for well over a decade. This guy, pro-life, pro-family, pro-faith, pro-America. That matters because who you choose as a lawyer sends a message to everybody involved in the case. Dan Caplis is solid on his values, the son of a police officer and a former seminarian who's dedicated the last 40 years of his life to helping people who've been hurt in serious motor vehicle crashes. Dan is believed to be the only lawyer in Colorado history to win 5 straight multi-million-dollar verdicts in Colorado crash cases. Dan is also believed to have won the largest truck crash verdict in Colorado state history. Dan Caplis Law, the official law firm partner of the Denver Nuggets and the Colorado Avalanche. Dan Caplis Law, a serious firm for serious cases. Dan accepts righteous injury cases on a percentage fee basis so that he can represent good people from all walks of life without regard to ability to pay. Dan's had a historic year, winning a $200 million verdict for a family that lost their loved one in Glenwood Springs amusement park accident. What he proved through his investigative prowess was that the company had trained its employees to ignore alarms and actually have workarounds that would allow the ride to go even if the alarms were going off. Dan not only got justice for that family, he improved the safety and liability for all of our kids as well. Dan Caplis is a real hero here in Colorado. If you need Dan's help, give him a call. Here's the phone number, 303-770-5551. 303-770-5551, or hit dancaplisLaw.com. That's Dan, CAPLIS Law.com. All right, we'll continue with Adam Dorito live in studio, co-hosting with me. Hugo Chavez Ray. You're listening to the Jeff and Bill Show, Denver's News Talk leader, 710 KNUS. Welcome back to the Jeff and Bill Show. Billy out on a much-deserved vacation, having to fight with all you conservatives all the time on the Jeff and Bill Show. We're taking a break from Billy as well. We got Hugo Chavez Ray. You don't get much more conservative than Hugo Chavez Ray. He's co-hosting with me today. Good morning, Hugo.
I'm to the right of Genghis Khan.
Hugo, live in studio. He's going to be with me for the entirety of the day. We're wrapping up our interview with Adam Dorito. Adam challenging Gabe Evans for the Republican nomination, Congressional District 8. Let's talk the airport. You brought this up. Airport's going to get bigger. I mean, a lot bigger. it's going to possibly be the biggest airport in the country. Is that what you're saying?
It will be. The airport, when it's done its expansion, will trump Atlanta and Chicago O'Hare. DIA will become the largest and busiest airport in the country. If we don't have a refinery that can support that fuel, because where's the jet fuel coming from, Jeff? It ain't coming from unicorn farts and fairy dust.
But that'd be... I mean, that's essentially the way libs think. It just magically takes off. So, yeah, I mean, great point. And Sunco's the only refinery here in Colorado?
It's the only refinery in Colorado, and it's owned by the Canadians.
Really?
Yes.
I didn't know
It's
that.
a Canadian
and
company.
this is out on the Commerce City side.
Yep,
Like you
right.
drive by it.
Yep.
And,
Right to top
but
Commerce City.
you get a distinct smell when you drive by. Is that harmful? Is that...
No, that's actually the rendering plant across the street. It's not us. That the dog food center. Yeah, it's not us. We have the tightest environmental controls there, where we produce. When our refinery shut down, we had an explosion because of a pipe broke. We shut down to repair that, and we did air monitor testing. The amount of emissions we produced at 110,000 barrels a day, which is our max output, versus 0 barrels a day, was negligible. And,
Really?
and we do 100% air monitoring 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365, and it's on a public website. And we are very good environmental stewards of the land, and we want to preserve our community.
It reminds me of the time when Hickenlooper drank fracking fluid.
Yeah. I used
Like,
to do
there-
it.
there
I was
used
on a
to-
fracking truck. I ran a blender, man. It's sand and like bleach. It's fine. It's really not that bad.
But I used to have Colorado Democrats that were generally kind of like, well, I don't really like oil and gas, but we need it. Now you get Polis and the libs that think,
Is
to
that
your
one of his
point.
craft beers?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
They're afraid of things they don't understand. And when you actually sit down and talk to these people and explain it to them, like, dude, I've been around oil and gas for like over a decade, and I'm fine. Like, you're good.
Yeah, I don't know if you can explain it to them, though. That's part of the challenge I have is they've spent so many years in government-run education that, to your point, they think that it's unicorn farts that actually power
Well, what you do,
things.
Jeff, is you go to their house and you take a crescent wrench and you shut off that quarter-turn valve outside their house and say how much you don't like oil and gas when it's negative 20 in Thornton.
Text messages coming in 3766. Totally loving the Jeff and Hugo show. There you go.
Okay.
Oh, that's Raymond. Raymond, thank you for texting that in. All right, so Adam Dorito, we've got 2 minutes left. Give us your closing statement. How are you going to defeat Gabe Evans? Why does he need to be defeated? And then if you take on Manny, who I think it probably is, because he's just handsome, and that sometimes works out in politics, right? Yeah. So you take on him. You've got to protect the Republican majority in Congress. Your closing argument, sir.
I'm a bold, proven, and principled person. I have fought people for this for a long period of time. I'm never going to quit, and I'm always going to do the right moral and ethical thing. Our farmers and ranchers need to be helped. I was just up at that cattle rustling meeting. It's a big deal for our industry. It's a big deal for oil and gas workers to come back. I just want to preserve the jobs and the American way of life, and that conservative families and reasonable libertarians and liberals as well. And the reason why I can reach, are we going to agree on social issues? Probably not, but we haven't agreed on social issues the entire time I've been alive. But I think we can agree to pave the roads, lower costs for Americans, increase the affordability for the Gen Z and millennials upcoming so they can raise families and get married. And because I am in a critical infrastructure union, that's where I shine with the Democrats. And that's why I'm also going to defeat Manny. He can't hold a candle to me, is because if you're not supporting your own people that are working in the jobs in your district and you're threatening to shut us down and deregulate us out of existence, come to our side. We are getting here to preserve the American way of life, and that's what I'm going to do as your next congressman in District 8.
Yeah, I mean, Manny he was like Yale educated, wasn't he? I think I looked
Yeah,
this
that's
up.
great. But, he always a volunteer this. Like, dude, I spent like a couple weeks in Peru on the NGO I work with, saving the kids down there. And he's right. China's a big issue. We need to stand up for our military and our national security issues. But people talk about being experienced. I'm like, guys, I've traveled around the country to third world countries. I've been combat deployed. I've been an EMS worker. I've been a firefighter. I've been in the military since I was 18. You can fake your credentials all you want, but I have lived experience. And that's why I wrote a book called The Guy in the Yellow Tie, which is getting published here soon once the DOD gives me permission. But if you want to know my whole life story, it's not perfect. I'm not a perfect man, but nobody ever is. But I'm here to always do the right thing and stand up for every American, even the ones who don't vote for me.
That's Adam Dorito. Adam's a candidate for Congressional District 8. I've seen the pictures of Manny. What strikes me about Manny is that he's got this like Yale-y kind of progressive education. Then he wears in protests like meat and oil and gas, which I mean, out of everything from Congressional District 8, that would be the dumbest thing to protest.
Yeah,
Like, that's the bread and butter.
And I
of
don't
the
think he's going to be repping 225 like the rest of us actual Americans. So call me when you can, and we'll talk about it. If you need some help, give me a call. We'll figure it out. But no, it's not that. Even then, like even if I win against Manny, I'm still not going to not take Manny's phone call. Hey, Manny, let's talk about the issues. Let's talk about what we agree on. And I think that's the problem is that real conservatives are not having the hard conversations with all Americans, and we need to save them.
Adam Dorito, thank you for your time today. Appreciate you coming in. Go to DoritoForCongress.com, DoritoFromCongress.com. When we return, Hugo and I are going to get into this Colorado CDL issue. You're listening to The Jeff and Bill Show, Denver's News Talk leader, 710 KNUS.